Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to the show where we bring you the most underqualified commentary on the week's hottest movie news to us. Not to the rest of the world, just us. I've got my good friend here, Dan Rathers. Dan, how are you doing?
Fantastic.
And like most weeks, we're going to start off with
His cell phone list.
The weekend box office, which I happen to be looking at on my phone right now.
Paper's outdated. 21st century.
Okay. All right. Number one, by a hair.
Hey, what have we learned from Vin Diesel?
You can win by an inch
Or a mile. Doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
Winning is winning.
By
Sound
just
wisdom.
not even $400,000.
Less than $500,000.
Gone Girl, number one at $37.513 million.
Win's a win.
Man, that is a hair. Right under Annabelle at $37.13 million.
You gotta remember that 3. Yeah, pretty
That's
close.
so crazy. I honestly thought Annabelle was going to be number one this weekend.
A lot of people did.
Because it's coming off The Conjuring. Ben Affleck isn't exactly the hottest movie star like nationwide. He's a recognized name.
He's a big name.
He's a big name, but his movies don't it's not like a for sure deal you're gonna bring.
Well, he's known more as a director these days, almost. You know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean Argo, that won him the Oscar, but it's not like it made big money. You know what I'm saying? But Annabelle.
What do you think did that? I have a theory. What do you think pushed it over?
The marketing.
Okay.
Well, Ben Affleck's been in the news a lot. I think that.
I think that's what did it. The Batman, the Batfleck controversy. I think a lot of people went out just to say, you know what? I hear this guy's the new Batman. Let's see what he's got.
Yeah, let's see what's up with him.
And he's got it.
Did he look a little dumpier?
In that one, well, this was filmed before they started filming for the Batman stuff. So, this was Now, he was obviously big. I mean, the guy's, 6'3", 6'4", some giant figure.
Yeah.
I mean,
I watched
that's
The Town.
obviously not going to change.
I watched The Town, and he is really cut.
Yeah.
He's not like super huge, but he's really cut and lean.
Yeah, I mean, in
this
Gone
one
Girl,
looked like he had
looked
kind of
thicker.
A gut. Yeah.
But, I mean, we don't see him. I mean, there's the one scene towards the end where he's in the shower, so you see kind of from the side profile. He didn't have like a lot of body fat or anything, but you could tell he was getting a little thicker.
Yeah.
But that's.
I don't know. I'm just saying because I watched The Town. And he was
everything
super
that I've seen and heard online is that he's in just ridiculous shape for the Batman role. So.
Yeah. Okay, number 3, The Equalizer at $18.7 million. 45% drop, that's about average for the fall.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean,
fall drop off, that's about average.
Good numbers.
Better than the 60% drop you usually see like during the summers. But
yeah.
Number 4, The Box Trolls, $11.9 million. 30% drop off. I hear that it's like really, really good. Like a lot of people are liking it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the stop motion myself, but a lot of these studios are putting more and more talent, and not just in the voices and everything, but in the writing and everything for these family movies, because they're seeing what Pixar and Disney and these others are. I mean, some of these you watch something like Frozen carry number 1 for a million weeks or whatever.
It looked kind of derivative. It looked like a poor man's like Tim Burton animated. Like
a poor man's Tim Burton.
Poor man, yeah. Like kind of dark.
Yeah.
Animation. Like Paranorman or another Hot Dog Franken.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of that sort of aesthetic myself, but from a story standpoint, everybody that I've heard of says it's very good. So.
I'll probably stream that later.
Yeah. Maybe a rental.
Number 5, it's probably be a good rental. Number 5, The Maze Runner, $11.6 million, 33% drop from last week.
What's this on his 3rd or 4th week?
This is on. When did that come out? September 20 something. So this has got to be a 3rd week. Yeah.
That's not too bad for a 3rd week.
Yeah, not too bad. They've already made.
It's making money.
They're probably already.
Well, and they already
fast tracking the sequel right now.
Yeah, they're agreeing with the sequel, so.
They're gonna bang that out as fast as possible. Number 6, Left Behind, $6.3 million. Not too bad.
For an opening weekend.
Yeah, and I think I read somewhere that this is Nick Cage's lowest rated movie. By critics.
This is another one of those movies that is really designed for a target audience, mainly Christians, and so your critic reviews and your audience reviews are going to be way far apart because the audiences that are actually going to see this,
they're liking it,
are wanting something like this, and the critics who watch all kinds of nonsense are looking at this and they're like, ugh, not interested. So I haven't seen it myself, so I can't say whether or not it's a good movie, but you know, it's the disparity between the two ratings is to be expected.
Yeah, it's like any, Christian film, like God's Not Dead or whatever.
Yeah.
Huge disparity between the audience and critic reviews. But at the end of the day, it just matters like how many people are actually paying to see this.
Right.
God's Not Dead, that did fairly well, like very well.
Yeah.
It opened up at like number 4 or 3
it was,
opening weekend. And it had an undisclosed budget. But it was estimated at around like $2 or $3 million. I think.
It was fairly low. I can't help but think the marketing had something to do with that because that had a lot of viral marketing online of the God's Not Dead.
Oh yeah.
A lot of online marketing and everything. This one, they made like I think 1, maybe 2 trailers, but they released them relatively late. It didn't seem like they put a ton of effort into the marketing. And the only thing I saw online was just like the little still posters saying, "Hey, Nick Cage left behind."
Yeah.
And that was about it. So that was probably part of it.
All right, number 7. This Is Where I Leave You. $4 million. That is the is that the one with the ensemble, Tina Fey and Jason Bateman?
Yeah, the kind of family.
Yeah, that just didn't look very funny to me. Did you? You haven't seen it, right?
I haven't. I've talked to a couple of people who have seen it. They said it was pretty funny, but nothing crazy. And that's kind of the problem with some of these comedies is if you make it for a low enough budget and you put it out there, it'll make you some money. But for comedies these days, it's either a blockbuster or a bust for a lot of them. So, because if it's just kind of okay funny, it's not worth people spending $10 to see it. They're like, oh, wait.
I'll probably rent it.
Yeah.
Number 8, Dolphin Tale 2, $3.4 million. The budget on that was like $28 million or something like that, or $32 million, I believe.
Well, I know
that was so crazy.
About 15 of it was Morgan Freeman. So
$15 million? No way.
No, it wasn't $15 million.
Adam Sandler charges $15 million. I found out.
Yeah.
To star. And
no,
$5 million to produce.
Morgan Freeman, he's probably getting $3 or $4 million off of that. So I mean, he didn't have a big role in it. So
yeah, he wasn't even the main character. Okay, number 9, Guardians of the Galaxy, down 1 spot from number 8 last week. Number 9 in its 10th week. It is still in the top 10. Just about $3 million flat there.
At this point, they're just showing off money.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we'll add another $3 million on there.
Hey, look how long we're going to stay in theaters, And then number 10, No Good Deed, $2.5 million. Now, the movie sucked, which you can watch the review on my channel right now if you would like to.
With more kid-friendly language like that.
But still, this is good for Idris Elba because if you like Idris Elba, which I do, and I want to see him in more things, this can only help his career, by saying, hey, look at this movie I was in, it did pretty good. Putting me in your movie can't hurt, right? Right?
I mean, I don't know if this would be a feather in my cap if this were on my resume.
Well, it's not like something I would want to brag about, but it's at least not to my fans, but maybe my...
I would be pushing that, hey, I was Heimdall in Thor, so,
Oh, yeah.
I would be, that's really what made the movie succeed,
all
that Heimdall performance.
All 6.5 minutes of that performance, it was great. So, yeah, that's the top 10. Really just a minor surprise at the top. I was not expecting Gone Girl to make this. None of David Fincher's films have ever passed 30 million. This is the first one. Benjamin Button, who had, what's his face?
Brad Pitt.
Pitt, like at the height of his popularity, didn't crack 30 million. The Social Network also, I think it made even less. Domestically, I'm talking about, obviously.
That one was kind of a nerd fest. The Brad Pitt one, I think people were just like, ooh, we're going to see Brad Pitt and Cate Blanchett. Oh, wait a minute, he's old for half the movie? Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, see, critics didn't even like that one as much as his other movies.
That was a very weird movie.
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I think that
critically did really well.
Yeah, I'm just saying financially. Like, this is kind of a lot. So Ben Affleck, I guess, helped. Ben Affleck as, I guess, a movie star again.
Yeah, I mean, that plus, I mean, let's be honest. The trailers did a really good job because it we're not going to give any spoilers away here, but
you can watch my non-spoiler review on the channel, or if you've seen it, the spoiler review.
But yeah, it left you with just enough intrigue to say, I want to see how this works and what happens, and it just sucks you in, and positive word of mouth and everything. Like we were talking about earlier, I think Annabelle is probably going to drop off more steeply than Gone Girl. I think it's going to have a little more legs. This next weekend, it won't be number one because there's too much other stuff opening up against it.
Right. It'll be interesting to see which one comes out on top next weekend, Gone Girl or Annabelle, because it is October and Halloween is coming up, and horror movies usually do pretty well around this time.
Sure.
So, there's not a horror movie coming out next weekend.
No,
and we'll be even closer to Halloween, so it does have that going for it.
Yeah, but interesting to see.
Anyway, let's move on to the news of this week. And the biggest letdown for me, not exactly the most surprising news, but Joaquin Phoenix, as we like to call him.
Joaquin Phoenix.
He has apparently dropped out as the front runner for Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you mean?
Were you surprised?
No, I wasn't. Joaquin, he's not. When was the last time he was in? I mean, the last big budget movie he was in was like Gladiator, like 15 years ago.
The Master. Well, that's not big, but he was
he was
I'm
talking about like a Hollywood blockbuster tentpole movie.
Walk the Line.
That was that was in for the Oscar season.
Yeah.
It wasn't a blockbuster.
I think it did
well, but it wasn't like a tentpole movie.
Yeah, no. I mean, this was something that from a fan standpoint, this looked really interesting.
Yeah.
Because we've seen the kind of dynamic performances he can give. Very emotional filled, very kind of. He's got that Johnny Depp Bizarro quality to him without being too goofy,
but a little more range in the quirky.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like one of these guys whose genuine real life persona and the sort of mental instability there that a lot of people suspect he has could carry over into a very unique performance for this. The problem was, this is a guy who's more comfortable on indie films trying to get courted into the big corporate machine of Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And the Marvel Cinematic Universe is like the quintessential like Hollywood machine that turns out like hit after hit after hit, almost in a factory style fashion.
Yeah,
you know
it's like, if you're going to be this character, we'll pay you this much money and it'll do lots for you, but here's the thing.
You got to be in 7 other movies.
We own you for the next 5 years or whatever.
90% of your time.
Yeah. And
80-90% of your time is
and then there's the off-screen stuff. You've got to go to like Comic-Con, you've got to do press junkets and all this other kind of stuff.
And if
he is not comfortable with.
Ever listen to an interview from Joaquin Phoenix, the guy does not play ball. He just doesn't. I kid you not. In this one, I was listening to this one interview on the radio of his, and at the end of the interview, he was like, "Oh, you seem like a nice lady. You should. Hopefully, next time you'll get somebody that likes talking about themselves."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh my gosh, man! I mean, I commend his honesty, but he just doesn't play ball."
Yeah,
actually,
he's not doing it to be rude. He just he lets you know, look, I don't like this.
Yeah, and I like that about him.
Yeah,
like it's like, oh, you remember what he said about the Oscars last year?
Well, he basically said, look, this is all really stupid.
Yeah, yeah. And then he apologized for it later or whatever, but you can just tell, like, he's not playing the game, He's not playing the Hollywood, kiss all the right butts and everything and work your way up the chain.
He's one of these guys that when people think about, I'm going to go to acting school and I'm going to be an actor and I'm going to express myself, and that's him.
Yeah.
He's like the artist actor.
Right.
Whereas he's not the Robert Downey Jr. who can give a very good performance and is a skilled actor, but totally embraces the limelight and says, I'm a star.
I mean, he's got his own production company now. He's playing the game. He's got his own production company. He's starring in his own movie. All this stuff.
Money's just falling from the sky.
I mean, he's working all the angles. Joaquin Phoenix is like, forget you angles. I'm gonna I'm just gonna live in this shack for all year until a good script comes my way that I like, and then I'm gonna go. Oh, the Inherent Vice trailer is out, which we'll talk about later.
Which is
right up his alley.
It just shows this is the kind of performance this guy can give.
Yeah.
Look at him, he's awesome.
But
chops and all.
And no matter how different or unique this Doctor Strange movie is going to be, it's still going to be it's not going to be...
It's going to be a Marvel film.
It's going to be a Marvel movie, yeah, exactly. It's not going to be some crazy,
like rated R dark horror kind of film, which you could do with that character.
Or even like a...
But they're not going that right.
You're going to have the 3-act structure. You're probably going to have some kind of aerial fight at the end, I'm sure. Maybe
the world will be in danger at one point.
Yeah, no matter how,
there will be chuckles,
Yeah, there'll be laughs. Yeah. And the rumor is Ethan Hawke might be in the running to play Doctor Strange.
They should give him put an isotoner gloves commercial playing on in the background. Something.
I never really thought that he would actually. If he did, I would have been very surprised if he did actually get confirmed.
Yeah, that was always a long shot. Yeah. The one I'm still rooting for is the guy that physically I don't think is a match, but I would like to see him in the role, and that's Tom Hardy. That name's been floated around by a few people. I think he's too short, to be honest with you. Tom Hardy's not a very tall guy.
Like 5'10", right?
Nah, he's like 5'7", 5'8". He's a pretty short guy.
No.
Yes, I'm serious, dude. He's like my height.
Not if we're to believe the internet.
But anyway, I don't think he's tall enough for that role. I think you need someone with the physical.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Someone more like he's. I don't know that I see him in that role, but no, someone like Benedict Cumberbatch. I think he physically looks what I in my mind envision Doctor Strange is. But really, all the names getting floated around would be fine. I would be fine if they did a no name. Get somebody we haven't seen before, haven't heard of. You know what I mean? Somebody who's...
He's 5'9". That's fine.
That's not that tall.
I mean, it's
Doctor Strange to me is like 6'1" or so. You know what I mean?
Doctor Strange to you?
To me, that's how tall he is.
You're very familiar with the Doctor Strange character.
Well, the comic, I haven't read all of them, but the comics that I've read, he's always fairly tall and lanky.
What Doctor Strange comics have you read?
I don't know the names of them.
Okay.
I've seen a few of the older Marvel ones.
All right, enough about that. Okay, let's look at... here's interesting piece of news. Not the biggest piece of news, but Ben Affleck is set to star in an action thriller called The Accountant.
Watch out, numbers. He's coming for you.
He's apparently a... Okay, it's about a mild-mannered accountant who moonlights as a lethal assassin.
We're getting into the time when there's more and more of these ridiculous cheeseball-sounding plot premises that you give to a good enough screenwriter, and all of a sudden they turn it into something that is actually pretty cool. But to be fair, look at any of the James Bond films. You know what I mean? The Man with the Golden Gun, I mean, in any of these types of roles, and they seem ridiculous. Even the modern ones, you know what I mean? Like the Daniel Craig ones, like Casino Royale. I mean, even that, when you break it down into a very basic, this guy does this against that guy, and he's mad, so he blows this up. It seems kind of silly.
That's true.
It's all in the details, so I'm not going to judge it based on the fact that he's a mild-mannered accountant, because all accountants are mild-mannered. You don't need to say that.
Hey, my sister's an accountant, so maybe she's an assassin. I don't know.
Pretty mild-mannered, to be honest,
But anyway, the script was at Sony, but Warner Brothers has bought it. Sony didn't want it, but
for $1 million.
Will Smith, I don't know. Will Smith was attached to the project when it was at Sony, and the rumor is that Warner Brothers is looking to hire director Gavin O'Connor, who you might know from such films as Warrior.
Yes.
That's it.
I know that
That's
one.
it.
Oh, okay,
No,
just that one.
He also directed Pride and Prejudice, and he's directing the upcoming movie Jane Got a Gun.
So I know him from Warrior.
Right. I've seen Pride and Prejudice. That's a pretty good movie. My sister and my mom really like it. Yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah, so the 3 women in the family like it.
It's like Downton. It's sort of like a Downton Abbey type of thing, which I've never seen that show either, but I've just heard that compared to each other.
So anyway,
lots of like
so
walking
Will
around.
Smith was attached to it after his children weren't able to get roles in the film. They were like, okay, we're giving it to someone else. Okay.
Wait, so Jaden Smith can't be my mild-mannered son who moonlights as a underground
what's
DJ.
his daughter's name?
Jada Pinkett.
No, this is his wife.
Yeah, Willow.
Willow, there you go. She whips her hair back and forth.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, that sounds
she
pretty
could be
cool.
like the secretary
Now,
for the accountant.
Batman v Superman is coming out in 2016.
Allegedly.
So maybe this movie is coming out in 2015?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how long they're going to keep shooting for, because I've seen stuff talking about different properties in Detroit, and they've got reservations to shoot winter filming in late November.
For Batman v Superman.
Right, so if he's still filming, and if they're doing the back-to-back thing with the Justice League, they could theoretically be filming through the end of the year.
Yeah.
Maybe even early 2015, which would mean if they're going for a 2015 release on this one, they're gonna have to do pre-production
really kick it into high gear.
and everything.
Unless it's like a lower budget
ready.
type of a movie.
Why would he do that then?
Because it's like really good. I don't know. Plus, he's not confirmed. None of this is confirmed.
It's a really good accountant story.
I mean, like
I would just
what was that
guess
Pierce
it would
Brosnan
be
movie that came out earlier? The November Man. That was like a $35 million budget.
Yeah.
And that looked pretty good. I mean,
you can kick it out. Film for a month and a half.
Yeah.
And have it out, 8 months later or whatever. But in order to do a star like that, I would think to do the marketing and everything, all the lead time you need. Yeah. I would be surprised if it came out in 2015. Who knows? Maybe he'll be shooting in between.
Okay, yeah. Well, here is the most spicy news of this week.
Spiciest, some would say.
Well, 2 different stories, but very closely connected to each other. The big one is Adam Sandler signed a 4-picture deal with Netflix to... He has the option to star in, but he will definitely produce or / direct.
Yeah.
4 movies just for Netflix exclusively.
Yeah, these are basically, it's kind of like a straight to DVD type thing.
It's essentially that, but you'll only be able to watch it on Netflix.
But he's making guaranteed money off of them.
Right?
So
yeah, I mean they're going to pay him. Yeah, they're paying him
financially. Pretty smart deal for him.
It's a no-brainer for him.
Is it 15 each?
What?
Or 15 for the 4?
That they're going to pay him?
Yeah.
Well, it just depends. We don't know if he's going to star in them. That's $15 million per movie.
Okay, I was.
But I'm thinking
they were saying 15 per movie to make the film.
Oh no!
And
then
more if he stars.
No. Apparently they're going to give him the budget to do whatever. Like he's going to have the same budget that he would on a regular movie.
Right.
Allegedly. So most of his movies are between like $30 and $40 million budgets.
Yeah.
For his comedies, which is a little on the expensive side for a comedy.
Yeah,
but
I mean, most of them make money though. Mm-hmm. Not a lot, but most of them make money.
Well, not the last few, but the majority of them, are pretty profitable, and they do well overseas. They screen well, internationally,
and that's the other thing,
which can really help out your movie.
How big is Netflix overseas? Do we know what kind of?
Well, they're not.
It's not a U.S. only stream service, is it?
No, it's not. But they're scattered around Europe, and they're in a lot of South America. I know.
Okay.
And I read that Mexico is going to be, they projected that's going to be their biggest increase in terms of the countries. It's going to be their biggest increase for next year. So
you go outside and there's cartels. You stay inside and you watch Netflix,
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe he'll do a cartel movie. Who knows? Like a comedy about
pushing those boundaries.
About a cartel member who falls in love with the FBI's daughter.
A female border patrol agent.
Oh!
All kinds of ideas.
That would be crazy funny. I'd watch it.
Check, please.
But then the other story is that Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the sequel from the Weinsteins, is going to premiere. It's going to be limited release next year alongside identical release dates on Netflix. Which, this isn't like necessarily a huge... It's not like a game changer in terms of like the industry, but it is a unique situation that this movie is in.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if it was like a huge blockbuster movie, it would be a bigger deal. But because it's just... I mean, it's a
sequel to a movie that...
It's a way overdue sequel that not a lot of people are going to see in theaters.
A while ago, yeah.
And so, I mean... Putting it out on Netflix is probably only going to increase the market, but it is a unique situation to see if anybody else follows the trend of putting it out.
You got to wonder how many people that have a Netflix account are going to see the movie
right
in the theater when they can watch it at home for free.
Probably not a lot of crossover.
And how many people that we're going to see it in the theater will instead sign up for Netflix to watch it there.
Probably not.
It just seems like...
I mean, if you were really wanting to see this movie...
Yeah.
Which I believe is going to be in select IMAX theaters.
Ooh.
Yeah, to get the better, high def tiger images.
Yeah. While they're crouching.
You're probably going to still go to the theater, if you really wanted to see it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't care how big your TV is at home; it's not going to replace an IMAX screen.
Yeah, and so that's why I think the Netflix is only going to increase.
Unless your last name is Weinstein.
That's why I think the Netflix deal is only going to increase the viewership.
Yeah,
what do you think?
It seems like a really odd decision. It'll be interesting to see, since it's not my money on the line, how this experiment plays out. Personally, I hope it's a massive failure because Weinstein is a giant hypocrite who's super anti-gun, but hey, let's make another fighting movie. It's like, you keep your politics to yourself. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But
I don't know. I like the original. Did you ever see the original?
I have, and I loved it.
I thought it was really cool.
Although
it was
one
like
of the 8 when it came out, and so I was like, swordplay, yes.
It was one of the first, maybe the biggest.
Yeah, international movie.
Like Japanese style, Chinese style, Asian film. Because over there, they make films like they'll kick out a film in like 3 days. There's a ton of these low budget films that get widely popularized over there, but it's a very different style of movie making from the United States, so a lot of people over here don't see much of them. We've got ones like The Raid and stuff like this that start out as a movie over there, they bring it to the United States.
That's an Indonesian film.
And a few, and Indonesia's part of Asia. Get a globe.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon's Chinese movie.
Yes, also part of Asia.
It's in Mandarin.
Yes, also part of Asia.
Okay.
But they make these films for their market. They don't do like the Hollywood studios and say, well, let's throw this scene in there so that this market over in Russia appreciates it, and it does. They're like, we're making it for our own country, our own culture, and if other people want to watch it, great, they can watch it. I don't care. But then they dubbed in the voices. They pitched it in America, and people really liked it. But that style of movie never really took off after that.
Yeah, no.
Doing this now, it does, like you said, it seems like the sequel's coming a little late. And
It'll only help the viewership, right? By putting it on Netflix. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think it will. I think
I'm saying on Netflix, like more people are going to watch it than would have gone seen in theaters, right?
From that aspect, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to help. It's going to help out the movie.
But I think it's one of those. It also sends a signal like it's kind of desperate. Right.
That's the whole stigma behind this. And really, it's not so much a crazy idea. It's the idea of it's kind of been around for a long time. Because a lot of movies that premiere in theaters, no.
Okay.
A lot of these smaller movies that they don't think are going to do very well that premiere in theaters, they'll have it premiere the same weekend on demand. And that's been going on for several years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean...
There was like a Lindsay Lohan movie that premiered on demand. A lot of these smaller budget comedies.
She's a big draw, that Lindsay.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they put it on demand to try to get more money.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's not like a huge deal. But here's a big question. How does Netflix make money off of more people watching a movie? They're paying a monthly subscription.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't understand the financial structure of that. My only guess, and this is just a guess, is that they're hoping that news of this deal and news that a movie that's coming out, you don't have to wait a month. You can see it the same day it's out in theaters. Will attract more subscribers to their channel. That would be my guess, but I don't know how successful that's going to be. I'm no marketing whiz, so I don't know. Well, like I said, we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying, right? Like, how does Netflix, like, if they make a movie or like their TV show, House of Cards, let's say that costs $10 million to make, right? And a lot of people watch it.
Yeah.
And it's like great, you know, a lot of people are watching it.
Sure.
Like, if more people are watching it, did they decide, hey, next year we're gonna have season 3, we're gonna have a $15 million budget?
Yeah, well, I mean,
how do they do that? Because they're not getting more money the more people that are watching
for
it.
the things that are on there, that works basically like a cable package subscription. You know, you're gonna have advertising and everything, but you're
there is
also
no
gonna,
advertising on Netflix.
Well, they do product placement and stuff like that that they get advertising dollars from, but it's more when you know that you can't turn your cable TV on or Dish Network or whoever you have and flip to a channel and watch a Netflix show. You have to have Netflix to watch it. It's just like ordering HBO because you want to see a show that's only on HBO. You order that. So that's what they're going for. When you hear about House of Cards being really good, you're like, well, let me get Netflix and let me start checking out this show and everything and all the other stuff they do. So it's more content to draw more subscribers in.
Yeah.
But again, something like this.
But it seems like a lot of money.
It is an interesting experiment. The downside is we don't have an either-or type thing. It's not like we're going to see what this movie would have done if they only did it outside.
Right.
Because the movie might be a terrible film, but the conclusion drawn from it is that this release structure failed it when it may not be that at all. It may be the film's fault or vice versa.
Right.
So we don't know. We're just going to have to see what happens and let the experts tell us what it means. I don't know.
We're going to need more data sets.
Trust Hollywood, you know. They'll tell you what you need to watch.
Okay, now I think this is the last bit of news.
Before we get to mine.
What's yours?
Come on, we talked about this. The Deadpool crossover.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that.
Yes.
It was confirmed today, just hours ago, so this is kind of breaking news.
It wasn't actually confirmed hours ago.
Yeah. It was today, right?
Or
was it over the weekend?
This is from the weekend.
Oh, okay.
And basically, some insiders have said Simon Kinberg, right?
The guy who wrote Days of Future Past.
Right. Genius that he may be, has said in an interview with, I believe it's comicbook.com, an exclusive interview with them, that the upcoming Deadpool movie, which is going to be a February 2016 release?
February 12th, 2016,
right?
16, yeah.
Yeah, so a year and a half from now. So that film, which we just found out is got the green light, not even a month ago.
Right.
Is going to be in the same universe as the X-Men, films. Probably, as you mentioned earlier, probably a good reason why they decided to stick with the PG-13, because it would be It'd be more difficult to go with a hard R rating and then cross over into the PG-13 world without having some inconsistencies in tone there.
Now, was this a surprise to you?
It was a little bit, because I honestly felt like they were going to do more
kind of isolated movie.
More of a standalone that would maybe reference the other ones, but it looks like they're going to go the expanded universe route, following Marvel footsteps.
Right.
And even though they don't have as expansive a universe to play with, because X-Men is part of Marvel, but they don't have all the Marvel characters. They only have X-Men characters.
Which is a pretty huge universe.
They do have a lot of characters there, but it's still going to be a very singular theme in their films, because they're essentially all the mutants. They're all X-Men.
Right.
Unlike with the Marvel proper studios, they've got like Thor, who's totally different than Iron Man, who's totally different from Hulk.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point.
So
they do have some aliens, I believe, that they can pull into there.
Yeah, it's really weird how the licensing goes.
And then they have a few like futuristic characters that aren't mutants, but they kind of have super technology.
Yeah, but they're part of the X-Men comic series.
Yeah,
Therefore,
so
they
like
fall
Fox,
under their
yeah,
purview.
Fox could use them.
Yeah.
Now, what I was thinking about is there's kind of two extremes to the whole tied-in universe thing.
Right.
You got, on the one extreme, you got Spider-Man 2, which is just like trying so hard to give you the feeling of a huge universe.
More characters.
Yeah, yeah, like they're just trying. That's one extreme, and then you got the other extreme where, which is a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy, where
There are a lot of characters in there.
there's a lot of characters, but it doesn't. It's not like it's playing off of the other movies that
Doesn't
hard.
feel that crowded. It feels like everybody's just kind of doing their thing, and
Right.
this is the universe in which we live.
Yeah, because it's in space,
Yeah.
which is another. Which I hope they explain why Peter Quill hasn't gone back to Earth in
Yeah,
the sequel or Guardian. But anyway,
that's a different issue. But that's what I think X-Men has done really well. Look at
Yeah.
X-Men 1.
yeah,
How many mutants are there? Like a ton. There's like 30.
right.
But it's not, you're not trying to focus, with the exception of Rogue and Wolverine, you're not focusing, too
You're not
much
trying to
time on
establish
each.
every single.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
we live in this world and there's all these mutants.
Yeah,
And accept it. Go
Yeah.
fight somebody. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's really what it is. So
Uh-huh.
if they do a Deadpool movie where you give maybe some of the backstory, develop the character, focus just on him, and then later on he can seamlessly jump into the rest of them. Him and Logan have some chuckles. You know what I mean? It's gonna be some humor there.
and the potential problem that I hope they try to avoid
Oh, you're going to this.
is see, the movie comes out February 2016. X-Men Days of Apocalypse comes out like a few months after that. I believe like that summer.
Yeah, it's in the summer. Of
that same
2016.
summer, the same year,
Yeah.
just a few months later.
Yeah, 4 or 5
And so
months
I
later.
hope they don't try to go for the Spider-Man 2 problem.
Will they split it?
No, where they introduce all these characters and like everything. Deadpool is basically just a vehicle to set up stuff that's going to happen in X-Men Days of Apocalypse.
No, I would, based on the timeline and how far back we got the announcement for Age of Apocalypse, I've got to think that they've got a pretty ironclad script and everything, because I think they're in pre-production or maybe even shooting already, some of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's already in the books. We just got the green light for this one already. I can't. I would be hard-pressed to believe that they're going to say, oh, okay, wait, let's rewrite this because we're going to get this guy in, and that changes the timeline
Yeah,
or
no,
something.
I'm
I don't think they're going to do that.
Like the Apocalypse movie, I'm sure is going to be it's already set in stone, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I hope that they're not penning the Deadpool script
Around it?
around, saying, oh, this guy we don't know much about him. Let's he'll run into Deadpool, and this character over here, we need to establish how he fits into all this.
Yeah, that's a balance they're going to have to strike, because if
that
it
was
is going to be a shared universe, they've
Yeah.
got to seed things in there, as all these movies do,
Right.
where when you watch the later movie, you're like, oh, I remember that tied in. There was an Easter egg from this other film. They're going to have to do that. But yeah, I'm pretty confident this is going to be a Deadpool movie, focusing on Deadpool, and there will be, something on the television in the background of one of the shots talking about, the new X-Men or mutant law registration, or something going on in the background, so that you understand, okay, this is part of that world, but we're not focused on that just yet.
Also,
because they have to leave themselves an escape route too. If the movie doesn't turn out as well as it does, they don't want to handcuff themselves and say, well, we got to make another one or have him in the next one, even though the character didn't do as well.
That's
as
true.
intended.
And if they tie it in too hard to Apocalypse, that could potentially hurt that box office
Put
too.
the stinko on that one.
Yeah, you never know. And then Apocalypse takes place in the 80s.
Yeah, that's the kind of weird one. The whole time travel issue of Days of Future Past is going to affect all of this, including, I'm pretty confident, the
Deadpool?
nature of who Deadpool is, because the original X-Men Origins, we were talking about this the other day.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
They need to have, if not in the movie, maybe just in one of the trailers for the promotional marketing, Deadpool's character, who infamously always breaks the fourth wall. In other words, he turns to you, the reader in the comic books, or you, the movie watcher in the case of a film, and talks to you like he knows he's a character, and that you're watching him.
He does know he's a character.
So they're gonna have to. They really need to put it in one of the trailers
where
saying,
he makes fun of how bad X-Men Origins
remember
is.
my other version of the pool? Good thing for the whole time travel thing, because
Yes.
that was terrible.
I'm gonna lose my mind if they do that, man.
It would be so funny.
Oh, that would make me so happy. Oh, I'd be so fulfilled. That would just make my year.
Yeah, we'll see. Remember this channel, bookmark this video, so that when that comes out, you can be like, that guy was a genius. He called it.
Oh yes,
And if not, just delete it.
And if that test footage is anything like that, what the movie's gonna be like, it seems like that joke would fit in just perfectly.
Oh yeah. I mean he
just
turns the
perfectly.
camera and says hi. You know.
Yeah, I talking about antiseptic wipes or something like that.
Yeah. Hope these guys brought their brown pants.
Gosh, that was so good. Ah, man.
Okay, so last piece of the day.
This is a short piece, but basically, I Am Legend may be getting a sequel that doesn't have Will Smith in it. It's like a sequel prequel, kind of a same universe world, but.
Well, my understanding was they were trying to do a reboot of it and change the story a little bit.
Oh, okay.
From a different route, because this is a script that's been rewritten a couple times.
Right. And at the end of I Am Legend, they kind of cure the zombies, so
yeah,
it could either be like a prequel, or it could be a reboot of the franchise, but it could be a prequel to the movie. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
or like a side quest, like
but
it takes place at the same time or around the same time,
a different location,
but just like
or something.
in like
They
Japan
could do
or
that.
something.
Yeah, they could do. They
Or
could
in
do
Canada.
a sequel because they didn't cure all of them. They discovered the cure, and then they went into the compound.
Yeah, so it could
they
take
could
place,
still be fighting them.
Yeah, it could take place like right after that.
But my
or
understanding is
shortly
this
after
is
that.
going to be they're going to try to reboot it and give it a different spin because there were a lot of fans who were familiar with the original story that didn't like the interpretation of the one with Will Smith. Now I will say this:
I thought it was okay.
I like the film. Again,
It wasn't incredible.
I don't read, so I wasn't familiar with the source material, which is the way to go.
Plus, I like to judge a movie just based on its own merits. You know what I mean?
The whole the book is always better than the film. Only true with Bible films. Other than that, film and book to me, they're
totally
different media,
mediums,
and they need to stay apples and oranges because the beauty of a book is that it allows you to fill your head with the imagery that you believe is being portrayed and described in the words. Once you've cemented that imagery in your mind, going to see the movie, it's telling you this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So unless it's the biggest coincidence in the world ever, it's always going to be different than what you imagined. So there's always a certain degree of disappointment there because it doesn't line up.
Exactly.
So when people say, "Oh, the book was better," what you're really saying is my imagination was better
what
than
I thought of
imagined.
the book.
Yeah. Versus the writers who imagined it differently.
Now, at the same time, while I like to judge, I like to judge a movie by its own merits. I still sometimes. Like with when it comes to like comic books and stuff or whatever, if it's a book I've read, sometimes I will admit like the creative difference that when they veer off from the book, I still might think, well, that the way the book goes is probably would have been a better direction for the movie, but still, you still got to judge the movie by its own.
Well, and also I think not enough people that watch movies and read books. Take into account and give leeway to the filmmakers for some of the restrictions that you have in film. Comic book fans are real bad about this. There are some things that work on a comic book tile that won't work for a practical effects or even CGI or whatever on screen.
No, you can get away with anything in a comic book.
Yeah, literally. I mean, things like, and we might see this pretty soon in the coming years, but multiverses and different dimensions and all that kind of stuff which Doctor Strange is probably going to introduce realistically. It's going to be hard not to with his character. Those kinds of things are more believable and more readily accepted in comic books.
Well, I think it has to do with the audience too. Comic book readers are more familiar with that type of thing.
Sure.
So if you can chuck all this, they're ready for it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. They
Whereas
kind
like
of expect all this kind of wildness.
Yeah, whereas a moviegoer, you're watching whatever Transformers.
They're like, oh, that's not believable enough, you know.
Yeah, but it's whatever.
But I will say this for the I Am Legend, the original film. I do think that Will Smith did give a good performance in that because he was 90% of the movie. He was the only character, which is always a good test for the acting ability. I thought he did a good job, regardless of his whole, putting his kids in all his movies nonsense. He is still, I believe, a talented actor. But the other thing is, a lot of people will forget, that movie predicted what's coming out in a year and a half.
Batman v Superman.
Yes.
Different logos.
There's a little Easter egg in there as he's driving the Shelby Mustang through New York City.
There's like a crumpled building.
Just as a joke, not connected to this current film in the works in any way whatsoever, but the makers of the film, just to play with people's minds, put a futuristic billboard up on
it's like a
Times
Superman
Square
insignia inside of a Batman insignia on a billboard, like hanging on this crumpled down building. And it's so awesome.
Making so many people that watch the film, including myself, think, oh my gosh, they're teasing the fact that they're about to make a Batman-Superman movie.
Turns out they unknowingly were doing that, which is pretty awesome. So I think what you can take away from this episode is we're really excited for Batman v Superman.
Yes.
It's going to be the quintessential movie of the decade. At least for us, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be...
Some people that movie Star Wars.
Yeah, no.
But
Star Wars, I hope, is great because the prequels need to be forgotten completely.
Hey, that third one was pretty good.
It was the best of the three, but that's like saying you're the strongest fifth grader. Come on, you're still not that tough.
Hey, that's something.
Okay. But, I mean, there are some great movies coming out, and actually, like, later this year, we're probably going to do a most anticipated movie for 2015, because 2016's got huge films, but 2015 has quite a few awesome films coming out. So... but yeah, Batman v Superman, that is just going to be, it's really one of the reasons that I wake up in the morning and continue to breathe, because I know 2016 is not that far away.
Do you still have the...
Oh, I have the, let me see, what'd you do? Did you break my phone?
Yes.
The battery might be dead. In any case,
perfect.
But yeah, as I still have my Man of Steel, Batman v Superman wallpaper.
He's gonna have it for 2 years solid, unchanged.
Yeah,
we thought it was only gonna be for 1 year for a little while.
And then they bumped it, and I'm like, glad I like my screensaver.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a while.
Hopefully they come out with a new poster or something that you can change it up a little
updated.
bit. But anyway, that'll do it for us this week. Be sure and check out the channel if you'd like any more reviews and or news. Previous episodes are all there. And movie reviews, as well as a few random videos of random things happening. So if you're a fan of that,
randomness,
that'll be right up your alley.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for us. Please do not subscribe or comment or like this video at all. Please do not do that. And that'll do it for us. Check back here next week for more reviews and the podcast, and we will see you next time.